D1 Rejects, we're back, episode 81. Today is January 12th, and it's going to be a really good one. I'm pumped for it.
What is it, 81st?
81st, I just said that.
Sorry, I was on my phone.
It's okay.
I don't know what it is. We start recording, I can't stop yawning.
But today, two great guests. Not one, two. You know what I would say to that? You know I had to double it.
What?
You haven't seen that?
No.
Come on, you ruined it for me. That's a dumb TikTok thing. But anyways, Bryce Bearss, joins us from New Mexico State, quarterback there. Michigan native, had a little bit of an unconventional route to joining the Aggies there in New Mexico State. So his story is pretty interesting. We talked a lot with him about learning processes, learning through failures, learning through successes, especially at the quarterback position. And then we'll follow that up with Taylor McCarty, who we've known their family for a long time. He's helping out at Lake Orion, our high school, our Dragons, but also just took a new specialist job with Lawrence Tech at the NIL level down in Southfield. So talk to him about that, all things specialists, kickers, punters in that world. Now, in the GLIAC, we got a comment on our YouTube that was like, why haven't you guys actually recapped the D2 championship game? I was like, why haven't we? We actually didn't.
Did we?
We didn't. We didn't rehash it. We didn't give a reaction. We didn't break it down. Nothing. So we're gonna go over it today.
It's been a while, dude.
It has. I just realized that though. So shout out to you if you commented that. I totally. It's kind of a blowout game too. Wasn't anything too exciting, but we're gonna rehash that today. So D2 championship recap. NFL. We got a lot going on. Potential landing spots for Derek Carr. He announced that he's parting ways officially. I mean, I think it was pretty obvious after they benched him and told him, got rid of him. Yeah, basically. But also some funnier things. We got a wide receiver that signs a pregnant woman's belly. That'll be a fun one. And then a promising young new NFL reporter. I think you know where I'm going with that one. That's a pretty good one.
I liked him, yeah.
He was great. Now, college side of things, a new rule from the NCAA is going to crack down on the transfer portal. They're releasing some new litigation that is going to make it harder for second-time transfers. Listen all about that later on. Popeyes gets a new brand ambassador that we have a little bit of a connection to here, which is kind of interesting. You know, kind of where I'm going with that one too, I imagine.
Yeah, he probably jumped me.
Jesus. And finally, Stetson Bennet working at Raising Cane's after his second national championship.
Was he?
Yeah. We're going to watch it all. We're going to watch and react to it all. But as always, you can watch this episode on YouTube. If you are, hello, don't forget about the timestamps. Red line at the bottom of the screen. Any and all of that stuff. Fast forward right to it. Get the hell out of here or listen to all of it. I'd really appreciate it. And you can listen pretty much anywhere. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. Follow us on Twitter, D1_Rejects. Instagram, Division1 Rejects. Instagram's hit 500 followers.
Congrats.
Big time.
And you saw that TikTok was doing numbers too.
TikTok. The boys talking about Lad McConkey did about 25K or something crazy
26K.
like that. 26K. We'll take it, man. Get us on TikTok too. I got to start adding that to the intro here. But
hey, listen, all it takes is one video, dude.
I know.
You guys know Charlie D'Amelio? Like, how do you? She wasn't.
All right.
She wasn't trying to get famous off her dancing with her sister. Like,
we're lacking in that department a little bit though.
What? We're two good-looking guys.
Guys, that's the problem. All right, before we get into any of that, let's go to our first guest, our conversation with Bryce. Joining us first on this episode of D1 Rejects, we got a Michigan native. He threw for 4,500 yards and 70 touchdowns in 2 years as a starter. Took a little bit of an unconventional path, but now he's joined the Aggies at New Mexico State. Bryce Bearss. Bryce, what's going on, man?
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course, dude. What do you have to say about those numbers? Millington High School grad. I'll add that on there. What do you have to say about those numbers? Holy shit.
I mean, we played in the Tri-Valley Conference, so it's not, I wouldn't say it's the most respected conference. So, but, we played teams like Frankenmuth, and we played Garber, who, is home to the Van Sumerans. I don't know if have heard of Ben Van Sumeren. He played at Michigan, and then his brother plays at Michigan State, and Ben actually just declared for the draft. So I played against him in high school, and a couple games away from playing at Ford Field. So high school was, it was a good time.
I love that, dude. Hey, but didn't get to Ford Field in high school? Just waited until you were at New Mexico State to make your way to Ford Field, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a pretty sweet story, man. I was, just looking at your guys' record, and as an outsider, it might not feel like this huge grandeur of a season. You guys go 7-6, but 3 of those losses are to Missouri, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. And, just some tough draws right there. And you finish the year on a 3-game win streak. Obviously, then you beat a strong Bowling Green team in that Quick Lane Bowl. I mean, this year had to have been a great learning experience for you, I imagine.
Yeah, and I didn't really know much about Las Cruces or anything like that. And the past couple of seasons were just, I think they'd only won 4 games in the last 4, however many years combined. So
Wow.
the turnaround was pretty crazy. And Coach Kill, who used to coach at SVSU back in the day, that's how I kind of got connected with him. And he just that's his thing, is turning around programs just everywhere he's been in his coaching tree. It's just what he does. So it wasn't really a surprise for us. That was kind of our goal the whole season, and we started out kind of rough. We played UTEP tough, but we started out 0-4, and then kind of didn't look back after that. And we're just, thankfully, we got a bowl game, and we ended the year above 500. So
I love that. 0-4, finished 7-6. A little bit of a Lions-esque season.
yeah,
Some would say.
yeah.
Some would say that might be a little bit of a
1-6
Lions-esque
and
season.
won 7 in a row or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was 7 of 9, I know for sure.
6 in a row or 5.
Oh yeah,
in a
they
row.
lost to the Panthers and then
Bills.
Yeah, and then okay,
Yeah. And
'Cause
you
I
were
was watching
saying
the
you got
Panthers game at the hotel at the we were at the Quick Lane Bowl, and that was heartbreaking. But
Yeah. To
not
say the
as
least.
heartbreaking as the Rams Seahawks game, but
oh,
it was still Baker is not.
awful.
Yeah,
He's
he's
just
Baker
not that
lost a
guy.
lot of fans that day in this area.
yeah, he lost a fan in me. I'll just say that.
It's tough, dude.
Yeah.
But you were talking about mom's from Iron Mountain, so obviously the proximity to Wisconsin is almost nothing. So your house, a little bit of a house divided type deal going on.
Yeah, I was born in Marquette, me and my brother, actually, and we spent pretty much every summer in Iron Mountain in the UP, so we've made many trips across the bridge and stuff, and it's a special thing. A lot of people, from the Lower Peninsula that have never been up there, really don't understand. It's like a different,
It's a whole different
country
world.
almost. It's just different. It's and a lot of people don't really get that. A lot of people when I go back to New Mexico, don't even know that Michigan has 2 peninsulas, so I'll refer to the UP, you know what I mean? And then they're just like, what?
That's
What are you
pretty
talking
good.
about? Yeah, so the UP's super special, and it's kind of cool to have a little lineage back there. So
Yeah, definitely. Well, even just being up here the last 2 years, you saying that it's a whole different, universe up here, a whole different world. It's spot on, dude. It's I
yeah,
was telling my buddies, I went back home last week, and I was like, dude, this is a vacation for me. Coming back
Yeah.
home now is a vacation because it's so much different that
Yeah.
it feels like I'm literally on vacation.
No, it is. You're right. I definitely feel
and
that sometimes.
do you guys have a bunch of snow up there right now?
we got a
It's
decent
kind of
amount
melting
right
now, but we got poured on for a minute.
Yeah, there were a couple blizzards
Yeah.
that came through. We got some legit snow, but
Yeah, it's no
came
joke.
from started in Marquette, didn't end up here, and coming out of high school now. Talk about after high school for you, College of the Canyons. That was the first time I had heard that name before, and I kind of mentioned it when I did your introduction. The route to where you're at now is not a direct one. So talk about that journey and what put Canyons on your radar coming out of high school.
I basically just after high school, I tore my hamstring going in my first year at College of the Canyons. Basically, I just was sending my film out to a bunch of JUCOs, and I was talking to UMass at the time. Coach Whipple was the head coach there. He was the OC at Nebraska this last season.
Okay.
He was the head coach at UMass at the time, and I took an official visit there, and I was committed there. This was probably right after Thanksgiving, going into my senior year, and then the whole staff ended up getting let go. One of those deals. The new coach, kind of a different direction, quarterback wise. They weren't going to honor it, and so my next step at that point was to try to go junior college. I was thinking about maybe going to Grand Valley. My brother was committed to Michigan Tech for a little bit, which I know it's a rivalry for you guys, but I don't know. I just never. There's nothing. I love the GLIAC. I'm a big fan of. A lot of people don't know it's the best. Obviously, it's the best D2 conference in the country, and
Hell yeah.
I've always wanted to just do something different. So I just went. I started sending my film out to junior colleges, and Coach Whipple had recommended California JUCOs specifically for quarterbacks, and I just kind of sent my film out there. College of the Canyons, the coach there, Coach Orsensky, kind of picked up my film and invited me out there, and I just liked the program, and so went out there for my first year. 2019 is when I got there in the summer. I had torn my hamstring like the second week in the fall camp.
Damn.
And that was like I've never had an injury like that where like I just woke up the next day, the whole backside of my thigh was just really, I don't know if you guys have ever had a hamstring injury or anything, but
not like that, thankfully.
Yeah, it just was like, it was like black and blue. I could barely walk. And so I ended up just taking less credits. So I wasn't above 12. So technically my Division I clock didn't start yet because you're allowed so many grace periods or whatever. And so I kind of just like, it was almost like a medical basically without like the official documentation. So I kind of took a medical. Then 2020, COVID hit, shut down the country. Pretty much, unless you were at a Power 5 school, you weren't really playing football. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Especially not in California.
Yeah.
And so I kind of just came home. I was still training. I was thinking about walking on to a couple schools like Central, or I was thinking about making a couple D2 schools like Valdosta State, something like that.
Yeah, dude.
And then I just ended up sticking it out, and I went back in the fall of 2021. Played in a couple games, got basically enough film together where I could start sending it out to some schools. Came back to my JUCO in the spring for my last year of JUCO ball, and was really kind of sick of junior college at that point, just because, it was becoming JUCO's a struggle.
Yeah.
If you ever talked to
and
him.
we've had a couple guys on from a couple different spots, and they all kind of come back to that point, man. Especially because a lot of guys go into that with the mindset of, okay, this is a temporary thing. I got to go here, get my film together or get my grades right for some of these guys, and it's a stepping stone onto something else, right? The vast majority of guys, this is not a long-term option. So when you have to stick it out for a year, 2 years maybe, and get those things together, like, that grind is real, man. I've heard that from so many different dudes.
Exactly. So I got there in the spring, and I was reaching out to some schools, and I kind of made up my mind that I wasn't going to use my next year JUCO. I was going to try to get to a 4-year. So I'd have 4 years left to play 3. And so I was reaching out to some schools. Montana was like an FCS school that was interested. Central.
Really good football there.
Yeah. It was a really cool stadium too when I took my visit and everything. Central was a little interested. I was talking to Coach Anise at Ferris, and then like my last week there, a DB coach from New Mexico State came and kind of took down my information, and then I was on a call with Coach Kill that night, and he had, he knows my dad a little bit because my dad's coached high school football in Michigan for like almost 30 years, and Coach Kill used to coach at SVSU. He coached Matt LaFleur back in the day. Like it was like Coach Kill versus like Brian Kelly at Grand Valley at the time. So it's pretty cool.
That's huge. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
And then we were just talking about that, and then he, gave me the opportunity to join them in the summer right before fall camp, and it really came down to them in Montana, and I just kind of jumped at the opportunity. So I'm glad I did, because since I've been there, everything's been really, really nice and first class, and I'm really happy with the decision. So I
love that, dude. Now I'm gonna go like 3 steps back. You said a lot of really good stuff there. We got the whole story. I love it, but I want to start California. I know California, known for some really great high school football, known for some really great JUCO football as well, too. Especially when you had mentioned that your coach really advocated for that as far as terms of quarterbacks go. Who do you think of immediately?
What?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
JUCO connection to Cal, and then finished up at Cal, but those type of things. But that California experience, a Michigan kid transplanted all the way out to California, I imagine JUCO was probably not the only adjustment you had to make going out to Cal.
Yeah, it was. It's total culture shock. Like, the JUCO I went to is in SoCal, so I would fly into LAX.
Damn.
The town it was in, or the city, was Santa Clarita, which is funny because the QB on at New Mexico State named my buddy Weston, he's actually from it's called the Santa Clarita Valley. That's where I played junior college. He went to a high school out there. So when I got there, it was kind of cool. We kind of knew like some of the same spots, but it was like I wasn't used to like mountains and stuff, and the dry heat, like fall camp was.
Is it really dry though? Like dry heat? Is that a myth? Dry. Is that shit real?
No, I think it's real. I think it's real. But like the humidity.
I'm not buying the dry heat.
But I mean, you guys have the dome, which is nice. So.
Oh yeah, we're spoiled.
You know what I mean?
It's nice and our biggest enemy at the same time.
Yeah. Well, just get new turf and you'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he gets it. He gets it.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a total culture shock. I adjusted pretty good. You know, the SCV, Santa Clarita Valley, where my JUCO was located, was a really nice area. But I would say downtown LA, like I didn't really go to very much. I wasn't really like a huge fan, and I don't know. I just like LA was cool, but I think it's a place where like you kind of have to like grow from there, and then kind of go your like take what you can get from that place, and then kind of take it somewhere else. Because I just
Interesting.
it's, it's really busy, a lot of traffic.
It's a lot, yeah.
It's not for everyone, but
I
it
bet.
was fun. I'm definitely glad I had the opportunity to be there for as long as I was.
For sure.
That's good, dude. Now you again talked about the family a little bit, your brother and his opportunity to play football at the next level. We talked about your dad. Dad played at Central Michigan, brothers at Army. The house has to just be competitive as hell when you guys are all there.
Yeah, it is. Do you guys know what euchre is?
Oh yeah, come on.
We got in like a crazy like fight over a game of euchre the other day. Like my brother's sister-in-law was there. Like it was wild. But yeah, the house is super competitive.
Family euchre fight.
Yeah,
That's
my
good
dad
stuff.
played at Central. He played with Coach Blackstock when he was at Central too. Your guys' high school coach. My brother was committed to Tech out of high school. Then like a week later, Army offered him, and so he decommitted and committed to Army before signing day. And
That's
then,
huge.
He played a couple years there, and then he had to medically retire for concussions, and I think he had like a back surgery that he wasn't able to kind of come back from.
That's too bad.
And but he had a good time, and I kind of have like a personal rivalry now with Army Navy, and like Central Western's kind of like my dad's rivalry. And
Yeah, that's sweet.
now
That's
I'm
pretty
at
cool.
New Mexico State, so it's kind of cool how we all have like our own spots. So
I'm gonna say you guys are pretty well spread out. You've hit all the areas, it feels like. But going back to this year, that bowl game, that bowl win, I should say, what was that? The experience like coming home obviously was definitely a big part of that. But playing in Ford Field, didn't get there in high school. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but you made it there eventually. That experience had to be pretty cool.
it was amazing. Just practicing there was super cool. Like you said, I was like a game away my junior year and a game away my senior year. So, and then my senior, we only lost by like 7 too. So, I mean, to be able to run out there and like pads and it's like you feel like a lion for a day, it was pretty cool. And every high school kid in Michigan dreams of playing at that stadium. So the fact that I got to run out there and like throw the ball around was pretty cool.
That's awesome. You guys came right down the tunnel, probably had all the pregame, all that type of stuff. Would have just been like, that'd be wild, man. That'd be pretty sweet.
It was pretty good crowd. I didn't think we would, because it's like almost 2,000 miles from Las Cruces where New Mexico is, or New Mexico State. And so, but we traveled pretty well. There was like, I think 23,000 was like the total at the game. And so
shout out the Aggie fans, man. That's big time, dude.
It was a good atmosphere. It was fun.
Yeah. Good stuff, dude. But obviously moving forward for you this year, like we said, great, like you said, a great learning experience for you. Next year, I asked this to a lot of guys. Next year, what do you got to do? Make that jump and really solidify yourself within that squad.
Yeah, so I came, in fall camp, and it was a lot, definitely, just the playbook and the 4-year level. And I used my redshirt year this year, and I have 3 years left to play 3. And I'm hoping just in the spring I'll get more reps and more opportunities to grow, and really just more opportunities to even fail, because I just feel like you learn so much from failing, just because you watch the film and then it's like you come. And so just opportunities in general. I'm just excited for the spring. I'm just excited for we just joined Conference USA, so there's just a lot of hype and excitement around like our program right now. So just blessed to be a part of it, and excited to grow here in the spring.
Yeah,
that was a textbook
and
answer,
I was gonna say, I really like the
yeah.
I really like the opportunities part. I think that's a big thing, especially with college kids. Because what year did you graduate high school?
19.
Okay. But just the thing with even kids coming into college, even just straight out of high school, like the opportunities thing, like if you're not failing, then you're not getting opportunities. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You're gonna fuck up, right? There's my F word for the day. But you're gonna fuck up. So the thing is with that is like the ability to grow off of that, even just firsthand for me this year, was a huge eye opener, because I definitely made some mistakes, but I feel like it made me a better player just because I was able to see things slow down, and especially for a quarterback. So I don't play anymore, but there's a lot of shit
100%.
going down. You know what I mean?
You
so
learn-
like you
you learn
really
how to
gotta dial it in
Yeah, you learn so much more from failing than you do from
Yeah.
succeeding, in my opinion.
for
Just
sure.
so just having those opportunities, like you were saying, just the growth is just you can't really get it anywhere else.
Yep.
Yeah, and especially when you talk about spring football, because for guys in your situation, like that's your Saturday, that's your game day, like every day in spring football, because everyone's still competing for a job, but the cliche thing is like no one's job is guaranteed, right? Like come fall, come the first couple weeks of camp, like yeah, you probably got a couple guys that are penciled in at spots, like that happens everywhere, but the reality of it is you have a great spring, all of a sudden your draft stock, for lack of a better term, is just up and up, man. So it's definitely an interesting piece of that.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, the spring, like you were saying, it's like that's kind of when you can make your move, like depth chart wise, and then fall camp, you kind of just really have to like show that you're consistent in that position, kind of thing. And like you were saying, spring's huge, and that's what I've heard from most of the seniors and stuff. Is just the spring is just really like kind of that. It's a little more competitive, a little more. There's a little more, there's more opportunities for everyone than there is in fall camp. So, yeah.
More juice, usually a couple live days mixed in there, like especially you get to like a spring game or something like that, really have your chance. But
then you got a bunch of guys juiced up because there's no game, so like
that
what I mean?
too,
They're
yeah.
just
So
gonna
it's
go
like
out there and-
that is your game day, 100%. So, and I wanted to kind of finish on this too. You talked about learning more from failures and successes, which I love. Is there one or a couple moments that stand out from this past year where you really took a lot away from those moments, learning?
Yeah, just like my first scrimmage, and because we have scrimmages in fall camp too, not a lot, but I think we did like 3.
Okay.
And just like I remember my first play, pretty much as an Aggie in general, because I didn't really get a lot of when I got in there so late, and so they just kind of threw me in with like the 3s and the 4s during the first scrimmage at the end. And I took it like 30 yards for a touchdown, and then on like a read option play, and then a couple plays after that, like fumbling and I think I went to go hand it off like on like a stretch play to the left, and I turned right or something like that. So just like the highs are so high, and then it's like the next play, like the lows can be so low because it's like you go from scoring a touchdown to getting like chewed out, and so just being able to like kind of measure your emotions and just staying like kind of even keel is what I would say is like really important. Just kind of having a good poker face, that sort of thing.
That's quarterbacking, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I said, neither of us, that's not us. We're not quarterbacks, but those are the first guys you see on the field that if something goes wrong and their emotions are showing, like the cameras are on, the people are watching, that's quarterbacking, man.
Like Crybaby Rogers.
Like
seriously.
Crybaby Rogers, that's
Like
good.
he's got a bitch about everything.
Oh, no flag?
constantly.
Oh, that's good.
How do you drop that? Like, bro.
But Bryce, hey, we appreciate you, man. This has been good. I really enjoyed this, dude. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm a big fan of the show. I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing, so it's been fun. I appreciate it. Do you care if I shout out some people that I know are going to watch this?
Hey, you go for it, dude.
Shout
Your
out
stage.
Brady Gullidge, Weston Egat, Diego Pavia, teammates of mine, Bryce Bearss, my brother, and Chris Bearss, O-lineman, New Mexico State.
Yup.
Go Aggies.
Oh, yeah. You know what's important because he picked the mic up to go get real close, too? That's genuine.
They saw this on my story, and they were like, when's it coming out? When's it coming out? And I was like, well, I'm recording it tonight, and then I think it's coming out tomorrow. But I'll see if I can like work your name in or something. Like,
Hell yeah, bro.
We should have challenged him to like
get a couple
finesse
words
it in there. You know what I mean? Like
shout out the homies,
sometimes.
bro.
Yeah.
Shout out the homies.
I love it though. Hey, appreciate you, bro. You got some fans in us, that's for sure.
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to
Good luck,
following
Thank you, guys.
man.
Appreciate it.
Great talk with Bryce. He's a man, dude. Small world too, with all like the connections that we had. I thought that was
I was thinking
pretty
too,
cool.
like two
Sweet.
pretty local guys today for us.
Yeah, very true.
One in our old home, and Bryce. I mean, Iron Mountain. He's born in Marquette.
I say he's born in Marquette, so that's a sweet. I did not know that. It's a sweet connection. So really cool. Now moving on to the D2 side of things. Like I said, we hadn't covered the actual D2 national championship. So for those of you who live under some type of proverbial rock, Ferris State went back-to-back. 41-14 was the final against Colorado School of Mines, and they did it in pretty dominant fashion. We watched that game, and it was pretty apparent from the beginning that Ferris was going to take hold of that one. And once they get up on you, Ferris is not a team that lets up. They're a team that has their foot on the gas.
Well, yeah, they're a team that you're on the ground, you're looking up at them, laughing at you. type of team.
In the nicest way possible, because they're ruthless.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's just how they play.
Yeah.
It ain't even about like dirty or
Being an
whatever.
ass,
It's just that's the way they play. So playing against the Harlan Hill winner too is another great point. John Matoka for the Ore Diggers. He was 22 for 38 with 2 interceptions. Very uncharacteristical stat line for him. He had been very good about not turning the ball over up to this point. Finished with 208 yards and 2 touchdowns. So not awful, but for that offense, how high-powered they look in the weeks prior, for Ferris to limit them to just over 200 yards of passing offense, I thought was pretty impressive. Did you catch any of the the Mines games before the national championship?
No, but the thing is like the reason I would watch Ferris and Grand Valley is because we played them. You know what I mean? Like it's different, like personal level. But I was looking at this right now and I'm like, holy shit. School of Mines MVP for the game was their punter, who punted 7 times for 244 yards.
Yeah.
He did 50
And
yards.
if your punter is your MVP, you know you're having some problems.
Yep.
So early on too, like the struggles were apparent from very early on in the game. Their offense for the Ore Diggers could not really get going at all. And so I think it's also worth mentioning that he won the Harlan Hill. It was versus the Harlan Hill runner-up and Caleb Murphy, and he didn't have he's had some crazy stat lines this season. This game was definitely not his, most dominant performance. He ended up says he's credited here for 3 tackles, 2 of them solos, and 1.5 tackles for loss. So
and he
nothing crazy, but still he is a presence out there, and they definitely had to game plan for him going into that game.
Well, the Harlan Hill got announced the night before the game, and Caleb was on Twitter pretty much all right, bet, LOL, watch this.
Yeah, and he went on to win basically
every
other award. I know Cliff Harris was one of them for the best small school defensive player. Yeah,
that's all divisions too.
Exactly. So, and there was a couple other records. I believe he won, and I'm blanking on the name of it, but he won the award for the best edge rusher in all of college football. And I think it's only the second time, or maybe it's the first time ever that a Division II kid has won that award.
Out of all divisions, best edge rusher?
I want to say so.
No shot.
You don't think so? I'm going to double check myself right here. Best edge rusher in college football.
But I guess who was dominant this year in the D1?
I would say Will Anderson. It feels like the Ted Hendricks Award right here. And here you go. So Ted Hendricks Award winners in the past. This most recent one, Caleb Murphy out of Ferris State. You know who it was last year?
Aiden Hutchinson.
It was Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan. 2020, the award was not given. The year before that, another Big Ten guy. 2019. Chase Young.
Oh, yeah.
That is pretty fucking good company.
I was thinking Micah, but he's not. It's not 29.
Yeah, but either way, going back, you look at these names, the years before them. Cleveland Farrell, Bradley Chubb, Jonathan Allen, these names, Jadeveon Clowney is on this list.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And as far as I know, looking at this list, he is certainly the first person. I believe the award started being given out in 2002. Caleb Murphy is the first one that is not only a Division I, but not a Division I FBS player to win this award, the Ted Hendricks Award. He took that home this year along with the other ones that we had mentioned. So we know he had a dominant year. Broke the D2. No, not the D2. The NCAA record for sacks. And I think
season.
That had obviously a lot to go into that award. So
that's just ridiculous. Also, shout out Brady Rose, Ferris State, Mona Shores. He played quarterback there. I want to say he was runner-up player of the year behind Donovan Edwards.
Okay.
But he led Ferris State in 5 catches, 83 yards.
There you go. In the national championship game?
Yep. And he had a completion for 50 yards, too. I don't know if you remember
Little trick play or something?
Yeah.
Sweet.
They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different ball carriers.
That's what Ferris State does really well, though. They spread the ball out, and they get the ball in the hands of their playmakers. What they have, though, the luxury of, is they have so many playmakers,
right,
and they can just get it all over the place. So what I wanted to do now, though, before we kind of moved on, is just compare the 2021 season for Ferris compared to the 2022. 2021, they set some unprecedented, insane records. Obviously, went undefeated both years. But if you look at their playoff run, which is really just absurd, the second round, because they got a first-round bye, the second round they played Grand Valley State, who played them very tough in the regular season, blow them out 54-20. Unreal. They go on to play arguably the best defense in the country in Northwest Missouri State, who is one of the most storied programs of the last 3 decades for Division II college football, 41-20. And now all these games are at home.
This is 2021, right?
This is 2021.
Yeah.
Yep. You'll notice, too, they play a lot of these same teams the year after, which is very interesting. Now, coming up after that, the national semifinal game, they're playing against Tyson Bagent, the Harlan Hill winner of last year, held them to 7 points. And it was at Ferris. It's snowing, totally different from Shepherd and what they were used to in their offense. 55-7. They routed the hell out of them. Go to the championship game, 58-17 against a very strong Valdosta State team. And they set so many records for just the way that they dominated opponents. And we've talked at length about their ability to have line changes on the offensive line. And the way that they were just absolutely punishing and brutal in that run game, that offense was crazy. Now, looking at this year's playoffs, first round, they had their way with Davenport. You know, it is what it is. Second round, though, Pittsburgh State, another one of those teams that has been around continuously, playoff team every single year, 17-14 at home. Barely edge them out by a field goal. And all of a sudden, you're like, holy shit, like this, maybe like the defending champs might get knocked out here. That game was back and forth. It came down to really defensive struggle, timely plays, like a couple big plays kind of busted that one open.
Well, kid had 3 picks that day.
Exactly. Some really, really
odd shit.
Big plays. So then next week you go Grand Valley. That was the rematch that everyone wanted to see. 24-21 at Ferris. Another barn burner between those schools. So they've won the last 2 games by a combined 6 points. Very different from last year's playoff run. They go and beat West Florida pretty handily, and from there it was wraps for them. And that's why it's very interesting to me that look at the FCS level. You saw the championship was this year, correct? Mm-hmm. It was North Dakota State versus South Dakota State. What do you notice about those 2 teams?
The 2 best teams.
But they're in the same league.
Yeah. And same thing with us.
Yeah, and they end up on different sides of the bracket. So FCS is doing something different. I don't know. They must not operate in regions, like the super regions or whatever, as D2 does. They must do something different because that really was the standing point that a lot of people kept talking about, is that if Grand Valley were on the other side of the bracket, then they would have ended up in the championship with Ferris, and
there's
therefore
so many
it would have
ifs
been a
in
greater
there
championship.
too, and
exactly,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? But like
we don't know
hypothetically,
that for sure.
it would have been Ferris Grand Valley, and that's what everyone would want to see anyway.
Yeah, because those are the 2 best games of the year.
Yeah,
absolutely 2 best games
for
of the
right
year.
now,
So
at least, you know what I mean. At least last year.
Yeah, if you look at the final D2 football Power 10 rankings of the 2022 season from NCAA.com, number 1 Ferris State, obvious. Number 2 is Grand Valley. Pretty crazy stuff right there.
It's nuts.
It makes sense when you put it in the way that we've presented it, but for someone who was like, School of Mines is number 3, they made it to the championship.
Right.
Interesting. Like, very interesting stuff. Rounded out, number 4, West Florida, 5, Angelo State, 6, Pittsburgh State. Then you have Shepherd, Delta State, Northwest Missouri State, and then a tie, and they kind of go out from there. But just some very interesting points from the D2 and in the GLIAC kind of realm. But do we want to start with some NFL? I think we can stick on the college football. We can stick on the college football realm of things right now. Let's go right into talking about the NCAA. They're cracking down on the transfer portal. And this is something that the transfer portal, the world of the transfer portal, has evolved so much in the last couple of years. And even at our level, Division II, it's become insane. Yeah. Right? We have so many people. I mean, we're going through it right now. A new head coach, a whole new staff. And we got guys jumping in the portal because they're just unsure. Right? And rightfully so. But this new litigation from the NCAA is going to make it much more difficult for undergraduates to transfer a second time or any time after that. So really, I'll kind of give you the main gist of this, almost the cliff notes. I'm not going to give you like the whole spiel on it, but basically that, your first time transfer rules is not going to really be affected by any of these new litigations or anything like that. But in order to transfer a second time out of an institution, you have to meet specific guidelines in order to be eligible to have that eligibility immediately upon, going to that next institution. Starts with the 2023 to 24 season. Otherwise, you'll be risking sitting out a year. Now, there are exceptions for, like I said, it only applies to undergraduate students. It does not apply to graduate students who are still eligible to play immediately after they transfer. So if they finish a degree somewhere, they still have years of eligibility. They're free to go wherever, no matter how many times they've transferred in the past.
Okay.
Other things, though, you will be granted different types of circumstances can grant you to kind of get around this rule. The exceptions could include a physical injury or a mental health concern. So those types of things, they obviously are placing a large emphasis on, especially given the landscape in the last couple of years and how those things go. But, given those circumstances, people can get around these rules. But that really is it. People are not going to be It does say right here, they're not going to consider academic or athletic reasons like being unsatisfied with playing time on their team or disputes between coaches and players. They're not even going to consider that for people trying to find another home.
I mean, it's good. That's what needs to happen because the transfer portal is literally like a zoo right now, and that's the only way they're gonna make it better is they get new restrictions.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like kids will just get scared off that and be like, all right, like F it, I'm not transferring.
Exactly.
I don't want to go through all that.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's I think it's good. I think it's good too. I think it's good for the kids and it's good for the athletes, without them even knowing it.
Yeah.
Because you look at the numbers of how many people, the absolute influx of people that are going into the portal, and then how many people are actually landing on the other side. And that number is shockingly low. I believe it's over 50%, but that's not good.
No.
And again, some guys are going to enter the portal. They're going to find a spot within a couple weeks or a month or whatever it may be because they're just that good. Not everybody fits in that boat.
Yeah, think about having like a 60% turnover rate. Like that's terrible.
That'd be awful.
You know what I mean?
That'd be seriously terrible. So I think it's a great new rule that they're implementing. And, I guess you see when they actually implement it that, some of the effects and things like that. But a little bit more uplifting stuff here on the pod. And that is that the Popeyes meme kid gets an NIL deal with Popeyes. So I'll cut right to it here. Popeyes has signed Deanna's Collin, the Popeyes meme kid, to an NIL deal. He's a freshman offensive lineman at D2 Lake Erie College, who we played this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that was pretty sweet. Had to include that in today's pod. So the news here says that on Thursday, Popeyes announced they're partnering with Collin on NIL sponsorship. He's going to promote the restaurant chain, and his likeness will appear on a Popeyes billboard in New Jersey. Because of the news of his deal, it's also spread across the internet. He's already started to hear from other companies. I know Dude Wipes is one that reached out. Locked In, some other athletic brand reached out. Collin. Deanna's Collin. He is going to be raking it
Just
in
like
here.
that, bro. His life changed.
It's awesome. And talk about this meme has been around forever.
Yep.
Right? This is not something that came around.
So funny.
I was just reading it, and what it really sounded like is he hated it. He hated the attention until about, I think it said late middle school, early high school. He finally just embraced it and took all the positives out of it when he realized that, hey, maybe being known for this isn't the worst thing in the world. Because there are a lot of worse memes than being awkward standing in lines at Popeyes, and they were calling him Terrio.
They're calling him what?
Terrio, little Terrio. That's what they were calling him in the Popeyes line. And I just love it, dude. This is, I don't know, this is what NIL was made for.
That's literally NIL, dude.
I think this is what NIL was made for, and it's such a weird, obscure example of it.
But think about it. He would never seen, you know how much views.
He's getting a billboard.
And you know how much views and shit that picture has got over the years, bro?
Ton.
Are you serious right now?
Now he gets to capitalize.
That's what I'm saying.
At least a little bit on. I don't have any of the numbers of the actual deal. They haven't released any of that. I doubt they even will, to be honest with you, because that'd be pretty uncommon. But just to know that he's getting a slice of the pie, per se.
Oh, yeah.
I think is super important.
Way
Now,
better than nothing.
I don't think he actually played this year, but he is part of that team that we played this year, which is, I just thought that connection was, that was pretty funny. But before we get into some of the other, we'll react to one more here. We've got a good video here, and this is another NIL deal. While we're sticking on the topic of NIL deals, this one is from someone that is a little bit more recognizable than the man that we just talked about. That being Stetson Bennet, coming off his second national championship. We're going to look here, and again, for Front Office Sports, shout out to these guys. It says on Monday, Bennet won his second national championship in a row. Today, he returned to Raising Cane's, working the drive-thru as part of an NIL deal. And here he is, man. I love it.
That's awesome.
He just taking orders, just totally nonchalant.
He's getting ready for the NFL with the guy with the mic in the air.
Yeah. I think it's awesome,
He's getting
dude.
the play call from the OC right now.
Maybe that's what this is. This is NFL training for when you have the earpiece and the helmet.
Look, he's right here.
How quickly,
He's telling the people to quiet down in the restaurant.
Drive through, quiet down.
4-piece with a side of fry and Sprite.
Twins left, X split, buffalo chicken. Shit. I love it, though. How awkward does he look?
He got faded up, too, bro. Look at him.
He's always faded up. How awkward does he look, though, standing there like that?
He ain't even. How does he know the total? He's not even pressing anything. How does he know the total off the top of his head? He's like, that's 675.
He definitely has some type of assistant in front of him with the iPad doing all the work, and she just flips it around. Stetson. Here.
sign here first.
What if he walked in, right? Put his Raising Cane shirts on, threw a headset
Filmed
on,
this and then left.
filmed this in about 15 seconds, and all right, I'm gonna float with you. Just walked out.
You don't say shit either.
Yeah, you want to ruin my deal? I think not.
You see what them boys did last Saturday or Monday?
Yeah, they fucked around and found out.
Yeah.
You don't want to find
Hey,
out.
working no fucking Raising Cane's drive-through.
You mess with me, you gonna stay here.
Got me fucked up. Look at him though.
Oh, dude.
Like a middle schooler with the snack line with his hands in his
I'm gonna
pockets.
turn the volume on here so the people can hear it.
Okay.
We can hear it on the TV right now, but he's giving the order. I'll let him do it.
That'll be $65.07. Okay. All right. Well,
Oh, that's too good, dude. That's awesome. He literally just like rattles off a couple of things like, all right, your total is blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I love how he nods. Look at the nod at the end here. They can't see you, Stetson. Yep, there.
Yep.
Good nod.
All right, yep, I'm going.
Acknowledged. Yep. I don't know. That's instinct. That's human instinct.
All right,
He's
let's
like
get the hell out of here.
He's a robot, though. I love it. Yeah. All right, but before we move on to the rest of that stuff, we're going to go to our second guest of the day, Taylor McCarty, who took a very interesting new job at Lawrence Tech. Joining us now, former Lake Orion Dragon. Hell yeah.
Yes, sir.
He went on to play at Wayne State here in the GLIAC, now getting his feet wet in the coaching world. Taylor McCarty. Taylor, what's going on, man? Pumped to have you. Decked in the gear already. Love it.
What's up, guys? This is awesome. Excited to be here.
Dude, we're pumped to have
This
you,
is
man.
awesome.
We're pumped to have you. I sent him a little DM before the show. I was like, hey, can I get a little picture of you for the graphic? Shoot, I'll send over a little selfie if you need it, man. It turned out.
Yeah, I haven't coached technically. I probably haven't even technically coached today at Lawrence Tech, so I don't have any meeting like action. I've been to a couple staff meetings and went to a
Okay.
team meeting, but I haven't been on the field yet, so I got no action shots.
That's all right, man. Hey, we're
No
gonna get
team.
that. We're gonna get it taken care of. We'll get the guys down there get it taken care of. Now, you've been helping out. We talked about it a little bit. Obviously, you've been helping out at Lake Orion for how long now?
Just finished my second season.
Okay, sweet. So, how did the gig at Lawrence Tech? How did that come about? Were you actively pursuing something at the college level, or someone reach out to you? What went down with that?
So yeah, so a little bit about my background. I obviously, like you said, kicked and punt at Lake Orion, kicked and punt at Wayne State.
Stud.
But when I was there, I was going to a guy named Casey Lapata.
Okay.
He's a kicking coach, and what high school level he was training me, and then college level I kind of came on let's say on staff with him.
Yeah.
And was a volunteer coach under him. And then once I finished my college career, I started really getting involved with him and doing his summer and winter clinics and spring clinics. And I really liked being around the kids. And so that's why I jumped in the high school ball right away. Coach Blackstock and I had a great relationship as he was my special teams coordinator when I was at Lake Orion. And then, as you know, he took the head coach job. That was my first year, was when he was the head coach. And then this past year, Coach Chris Bell is the head coach. But got into that. That was fun. And I'm like, I need some more. I want more. I still want to do Lake Orion. Let's do more. I work at Ford, so in Dearborn. So I'm like, what's near there?
Yeah,
So
I was gonna say the
called up
location
Lawrence
definitely.
Tech.
I would assume was a big factor in that for sure, right?
Yeah, 10 minutes away from my office. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. So I'm like, let me call up Coach Mitchell. He's the head coach.
Yeah.
Talked on the phone. He's like, hey man, let's get an interview going. Come in my office. Came in the office, and I guess now the rest is history. Let's go. Let's roll.
I would say I love that. Just like a little self advocate for yourself, right? Put yourself in that position. Now, I knew Coach Mitchell pretty well going through that recruiting process. Actually took a visit there. They were one of my last schools that I kind of ruled out before coming up here to Northern. Really loved just like the idea of a new program, right? And like kind of being able to stamp your mark on a new program and define what that would be. And also, I mean, state champs is out of Lawrence Tech. I don't think a lot of people know that. They produce a ton of content for all the high school sports across Michigan. Just a lot going on there. And obviously the location in Southfield is interesting. But, you know, is getting into coaching, especially, I guess, more specifically at the college level, is that something you always knew you wanted to do? When did that come about in your plans? When did you decide that was something you wanted to pursue?
Yeah, so I've had an interesting career. I was a true freshman starter at Wayne State, started as a sophomore, then sophomore going to junior year, had a season-ending hip surgery, hip injury right before the season. So I had to take a step back and go into more of a mentor role. We had a couple of young kickers come in, I believe it was about 3, and I was a junior at the time, so I was an upperclassman. I was in leadership roles, so I was like, okay, it's time to now start cultivating and giving my skills away, start teaching it, and I really enjoyed that a lot. So I'm like, oh, this might be something. This might be something. Then senior year, got rehabbed back 100%, and of course 2020 COVID hit, so cut the season, and I'm like, had a full job offer on the table, couldn't turn it down, so I took it, left school to go work full time, and there was just a hole in my heart, man. I'm like, I miss the competitiveness. So I'm like, calling up Coach Blackside. I'm gonna try to get on the Lake Orion staff. Got on the Lake Orion staff, did it for 2 years, loved every single second of it. I was, funny enough, they call me part-time there because I got the full-time job. I'm not a teacher like most of the staff, so I come late sometimes, but
That's awesome.
got on. I was like, I can do it like once or twice a week. That was like my original thing I told Coach Blackstock.
Yeah.
I went pretty much every single day. I fell in love with it.
That's great.
I couldn't give it up.
Yeah. I think that we hear that story a lot too with like even older college guys, NFL guys who are, you know, not to say that you're nearing the end of your career because you just had the injury that puts you in that situation, but those type of guys who step into that mentorship role, sometimes they know it's coming, other times it sneaks up on them. But when they have that chance to, I guess, for lack of a better term, usher in the next wave of guys and help them, you know, show them their ways, show them the ropes a little bit. I think we see that a lot at all the different levels. Did you and Bevilacqua have crossover there?
Yeah, we did. So we actually played at Lake Orion together for 1 year.
Okay.
So he was a senior and I was a junior, and then my whole career he was there.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, 'cause that was the other name that I'd known out of Lake Orion, especially, you know, within specialists, of course. So, you know, back to Lawrence Tech, though, like I talked about before, still in the grand scheme of things, a brand new program. Like, they've been around for a couple years. Yeah. And I just wanted to know from you, like, what excites you to kind of be a part of that, because there's still a lot of things unwritten for them. They're in a great league. As far as the NAI is concerned, they play some quality opponents. So what excites you about, you know, being able to join that staff and get over to Southfield and get some work in?
The number one thing that really excites me is their Coach Mitchell. I'll talk to him. I'm like, I know a lot about kicking and the technique of kicking, the technique of punting. I know a little bit about snapping, not anywhere near an expert, but being around snappers, I've known a lot. I've kind of know the technique. But his dad, Coach Senior, actually coaches there, and he is very knowledgeable on the whole special teams as a unit. And he was like, you guys can work together. You teach my dad on how, like, the technique and truly of kickers, so like how it should look, how it should feel for a kicker. And he in return will teach you like the whole special teams as a unit. So that really intrigued me. I'm like, okay, now I can learn more about special teams, not just a little tiny phase of special teams as the kick, but the whole, what's the line doing? What should the line do? Where do we twist? When's it smart to twist? And then also a new program. It's like you can put your stamp on it. You can really help them elevate to the next level. Yeah. Really bring that great culture in, bring in some oomph to it, some youth into it. I love it. I've met the staff probably now a total of 4 times, bunch of great dudes, and that's really exciting me. It's a very faith-driven program, which is awesome. So it's everything Coach Mitchell was telling me. Just in my 4 days, I've seen it.
That's awesome. Yeah, hey,
so it's been
one thing to talk about it, another thing to do about it. The Blue Devils, they went 7-4 in 2021, had a couple really tough years before that. Obviously, starting up a program like that, when you're in the same league as Concordia Ann Arbor, Siena Heights, St. Francis, Marion, these type of schools, like these schools have been around forever, it feels like, a lot of them, and are really established. But they dropped back to 3-7 this past year. I guess the takeaway could be that they have the potential to go out and win. Does that kind of seem to be the sense amongst these guys? Obviously, they believe in something because they've won some meaningful games before. So I just wanted to, you know, you haven't been around them too much, but kind of where their heads are at heading into, you know, this offseason.
I actually attended my first players meeting today.
Okay, there you go.
Only there for the first hour, and I'm talking, man, the juice is there. Good. These kids seem ready. Just first day meeting them, heads up all the time, attention to detail. No one was in the back slouched over. These are some smart kids and want to get after it. So I expect a lot of big things.
That's good. Yeah,
And
we
the
had
coaches, man.
go for it.
Go ahead. I was about to say the coaches, man, they're dedicated.
Yeah.
They're watching film all the time. So we're ready to win. We're ready to get after it.
I like that. We had I don't know if you remember, we had Brady Apple on from Lapeer, who was a quarterback over there for a while, and he had a lot of good things to say about the place. So I was encouraged by that. Now, more specifically, back to you a little bit, talking about coaching specialists, right? Especially at this level, do many schools at that NAIA, even like D2, D3 level, do they even have anyone focused on coaching those specific positions as far as, especially kicker and punter? Like, I don't know how many schools actually have a designated person on their staff that is devoting time to those positions.
Yeah, so I know for the high school level, I think, and I could be wrong, but I only know one other specialist coach in the state of Michigan.
Yeah, I believe it.
Hudsonville. And it's just because that my roommate from Wayne State went to Hudsonville and he was telling me about him. I met them
there you go.
Times. To be honest with you, I've tried to do some research. I can't find barely any research or specialist coaches out there just dedicated to the kicking and punting. So it's a cool thing. I'm trying to get it more because I started doing a lot of research on special teams and noticed that a lot of these guys are that played linebacker, played O-line, played wide receiver, corner. None of them actually played. They played on the special teams, but they weren't the kicker punter. So I'm like, let's try to bring a different sort of aspect, a different view in here and try to truly develop the kickers. I know that there's a lot of coaches around the country that do private training, but not a lot of coaches that are connected into a program that just do kickers and punters.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And that people talk about like coaching what you played, right, all the time. I think that's a big like sentiment. Now, going right off of it, not a lot of people do it. How much of a benefit is it going to be to those guys? Again, you haven't been able to, really get boots on the ground and get this stuff done. But I got to imagine the upside is certainly there for these special teams. It's a third, phase of the game. So how much of a benefit will it be for these guys potentially?
I think it's going to be a big benefit because it's someone that is actually watching film that's one, done it, and two, knows how to do it. And three, I've done it. I've helped coach for 2 years. So I've got a little bit of experience, but I'm still young and that I'm trying to learn my coaching style. And so I'm building off. They're teaching me as much as I'm teaching them. So I can dive into the science of kicking and I can dive into all that, but everybody's different. Everybody kicks a little bit different. It's just like throwing a football. Everyone knows the technique everyone teaches one way, but there's not one quarterback. All 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL all have a slightly different mechanics than when they throw. Same exact thing with kicking. So what my goal with them is try to give them the tools, give them all the tools for their toolbox and let them run with it. Give them advice. And I think the biggest thing for them is that my coaching style is I like to bring out a camera out there and videotape them every single kick and then step back right after that kick instead of waiting 3 hours or the next day to watch film. We're going to watch film on the field and correct the mistake right there. Kicking is just like golf, man. It's very mentally driven and muscle memory. So if you start getting in a bad habit, if you're practicing bad habits, is actually worse off for you to keep on going on. You should just stop and reevaluate yourself. So that's what I'm going to try to bring a little bit more of knowledge and teaching to the actual kick.
Yeah, like the immediate feedback.
Yeah.
I like that. I haven't really, because obviously with a lot of positions, you can't, you're not able to do that because there's such this valuable practice time, right? This emphasis is placed on, we have such a little time that we got to get everything done. And you see these high level programs are so efficient in how they use their time. But at a position like a kicker or a punter, sometimes you have a little bit more time where you can utilize that a little bit more in depth. Now, you touched on it. Everyone kicks different. Everyone throws different. Do you have a guy, though, for your kickers, for your punters? Is there a guy in the league that you kind of show them to? Like, this guy's teach tape 10 times out of 10. Like, if you're going to do it anyway, this is the dude to watch?
Yeah, 100% in the kicking game is Justin Tucker. He is the most. Justin Tucker would have been scary. Justin Tucker, man. that dude does not miss. And you know when he misses because it's on I don't care if you're not even on football Twitter or kicking Twitter, man. It's
news.
everywhere. Just miss a field goal. Like so his technique is flawless. And he really works. And I don't just show them him because of his technique. He is big on the mental game of football. He visualizes every single kick. He is in the zone every single kick. So I like to show them both the kicking side of him and the mental, how he mentally prepares for each game. Punting wise, there's a couple of different guys. I love to show Marquette King because he can punt the hell out of a football, man.
Marquette was up in the Superior Dome not too long ago, actually. He was up here at NMU.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
I bet you he was drilling them.
Oh, I'm pretty
top
sure.
Of the dome.
I was gonna say he was putting them off the top of the dome because, long story short, his girlfriend Michaela, boxer, trains up here, so he came with her and was doing some training, and I guess just skied some balls in the dome, was just knocking them all over the place. Maybe took a speaker down or something. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, but he's the guy, huh? As far as Teach State.
Yeah, he's one of them. Pat McAfee, he was very smooth. He's very smooth when he kicks. He's a great. I love to show his tape on kickoff. He was a great kickoff specialist. And one of my favorite Pat McAfee things to show is the middle bunt in the Super Bowl.
Gosh, that's great.
Perfect. I love to show my kickers that. I'm trying to think of other punters I like to show. I like to show a lot. I like to show them a lot of different ones to kind of go off of because every punt's got a different style. When I go to rugby, there's a couple of rugby guys I like to show. I forgot what is it Drew? He was the Ohio State guy a couple years ago. Can't remember his name. I think it was number 91. But
Good question.
He was a great rugby punter. He's a great rugby punter, so I like to show him.
That's neat, man. I mean, that'd be tough too. Like you have guys that maybe want to adapt some of their style into their game, things like that. But shit, either way, man, big things coming for you. I'm excited to hopefully hear more about it once you get to really be in Southfield, be around those guys. Whenever that is. But just excited for you, man. Super fun next step for you.
Oh yeah, I'm super excited, man. I wish it was fall right now.
You and me both, dude.
I would be on the sideline right now, man.
That's
watching
good.
some football.
Good stuff, man. Hey, but we appreciate you a ton.
Yeah, good luck, man.
Thanks for coming on. Yeah, good talking with you. Good catching up.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This was awesome. You guys are doing great work over there.
That means the world, brother. Means the world. Hey, we'll be in touch, all right?
Yep, see you guys.
All right, we'll see you, man. Great talking with Taylor. I just think it's so interesting at the NAIA level to even have that's a spider. Is that a spider?
Oh my God, dude.
Is that?
That's a wolf spider, bro.
No, it's not, bro.
Look at the thing. It's got silverback on it.
Take care of it, bro. Bro.
Look at it.
I'm not, dude. Get it.
I need to get a paper towel or something.
Get something, bro. Get the footballs right over there. Oh, shit. Are you serious?
Oh, we gotta kill spiders on. Oh my God,
dude. Take it out. I'm not doing this shit.
I don't want to splatter.
That's good. That's good. That's good. We're good.
I don't want football.
I'm definitely leaving that in.
Why?
I'm so leaving that in. Because this is a candid podcast. They need to know what's going on.
You know what? Our next guest should be on here.
A wolf spider?
No.
A spider killer?
Spider-Man.
Okay, out of here. But anyways, where was I before I was interrupted by this guy? NAIA. I think it's so interesting that, they have those coaches at that level because they really don't. And so for him to go do that at that level, I think hopefully it will give them an edge because you really don't have a lot of dedicated specialist coaches.
And you said it first when you said that when you went to Lawrence Tech, because we talked about it before too. We both obviously took visits there.
Yep.
And I really, really, seriously do like Coach Mitchell a lot.
I had a great relationship with him. Really I thought he was a great dude. Good recruiter.
And their position coaches were I had a great relationship with them too, and I thought they had a great thing going on. The location we were talking about is kind of weird and different. I know a couple guys over there. Keon Sanders, I talked to him for a good amount. He's a great kid. He's been playing really well over there. But I think it's interesting because I feel like Coach Mitchell's one of the few guys that would hire a guy like that. He's just kind of a dude that would see a kid like this and be like, yeah, like he's got knowledge. He's gonna help our football program. That's
Willing to be a little bit different.
Exactly, and give him a shot because that's the new thing. I feel like nowadays, new young guys coming in getting shots, and you see what happens.
Especially guys that have played that position and just have that.
Right.
You know,
and that's
desire.
only helps his argument. Only helps his strengthens his.
Yeah. Now, a guy that is going to be looking for a shot here, and that's the thing that we're going to talk about now is Derek Carr. He's out of Las Vegas. He posted this message, which I will put on the screen while we talk about it so you guys can give a little bit of a read if you are watching on YouTube. Here is the first of 2 messages from Carr. And let's just talk about it. While I have it up on the screen, we're going to let them read that. The Raiders QB, he tweeted this. It's a long thank you, basically, to the fans, as it was made official he would be leaving the franchise. And I'll give you, again, kind of the cliff notes. Excuse me. Talking about from the bottom of his heart how appreciative he is of everyone every single day and operating with the people in the facilities, the fans. And he said it's just very hard to say goodbye because he wanted to finish his career with this franchise. So moving over to the next piece here, he thanks the city of Oakland first, which I thought was a good gesture.
Yeah.
Then he goes on to thank Las Vegas. And, all of Raider Nation, all of that. And, I bet it was just really difficult for him to write this.
Well, I'll say one thing. Derek Carr, welcome to the Indianapolis Colts. You can pack your bags.
You might be onto something, and that's what I wanted to go next. Was the potential landing spots.
He's such a Colt, dude.
I had two teams down. One of them wasn't the Colts, but that does make a lot of sense.
He's such a Colt. I can just already see it. Carr in the 4 Colt jersey.
Do you know what the 2 teams that I had written down were? An NFC and an AFC.
Okay. Commanders?
Nope. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New York Jets. What do you think about those?
I could see him go to the Jets. I think the Jets are going to make a really strong push at Lamar.
Yeah.
Because I really do think that's
I think it makes a lot of sense for them because when you look at the way their roster's built up, they have a good roster. But more importantly, they have a lot of young talent on that team.
They got a good up front too.
They do. They're up front. They've played really well in that position now. But you look at 2 guys that could be, or not 2 guys, sorry, a guy that could be a defensive player, a rookie of the year, an offensive rookie of the year, arguably, right on that side. So
Wilson and
Brees, before he got hurt, I was, kind of getting at that. Brees Hall is a
Garrett
stud.
Wilson too.
Garrett Wilson, I told you, don't even think about Garrett Wilson. I was talking about Brees though. Before he got hurt, he was having that type of season, right? So a lot of young talent there at the skill positions. They need an established quarterback, and I think that's kind of what they've gotten at. Zach Wilson's not cutting it for them. Tampa Bay. Assuming Tom Brady is gone, the pieces are already there for that team to be good. We've seen that. Obviously, they had a lot of success in very recent history. Yeah. So,
well, they'll have to do a lot of soul searching after Brady leaves because they're all going to be in a very terrible, dark place in Tampa Bay. So,
oh Jesus, the report here though on Carr, and this is a tweet from BR Gridiron, but the report comes from Vic Taffer, and multiple people have reported on this. Is that if no trade is reached by February 15th, the Raiders will release Derek Carr. Now. That's the thing is that why would anyone trade for him if they think he's going to get released?
Yeah. Because this is the thing. If the Raiders came in and said, hey, listen, we'll give you a 2nd-round pick and Derek Carr for Shithole McGee and Bubba Watson, you know what I mean? I'd take it. Because at that point...
For Bubba Watson?
Yeah. At that point, it's all right, well... We're getting at least a 2nd-round pick back and not just getting Carr and overpaying the shit out of him.
I get that. Yeah. So I just thought this report was very interesting because I don't know where he got that. Maybe it's genuine and there's just a leak, right? And that happens, I think, sometimes in the NFL world, and we have to credit that. But, if he does get cut, then, whatever team is going to go pick him up probably doesn't have to honor his contract.
No.
I would assume the majority of it, right? So it's going to put not only the Raiders, but whatever team is in, I don't know if I'd call them the Derek Carr sweepstakes, but the Derek Carr sweepstakes.
I do like Derek Carr, too. I
do, too.
I think he's a decent quarterback. He'll win I'll say this. He won't.
Early 2023 comeback player of the year nominee?
Right now?
Yeah. I'm saying is that Derek Carr? Is he okay? He's not a front runner. Okay, never mind.
I would have said Kyler Murray, but
he ain't coming back from anything.
Towards ACL.
That's true. I forgot about that. Nah, never mind. I stand totally corrected. But
or Chase Young even.
Chase Young could be a good one for that. But let's stick with the Raiders, right? And we've got a video from the Raiders camp that is pretty awesome. And from a journalism person myself, watching this video the other day was really sweet, and it is the newest reporter on the job for the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm just going to show it here before we have the audio out, and this guy is awesome. He got the chance to go down on the field and interview Devontae, and I'm let the video speak for itself here. I'm going to pull it up big screen, and then we'll turn the audio on, and I think you guys will get you definitely will get a kick out of this guy and his interviewing skills.
To your camp and doing a 7-on-7 against.
Yes, sir.
So what is one of your greatest memories in your childhood?
Greatest memories in my childhood, I would say when I was young, maybe about 7 or 8 years old, I had the opportunity to meet J.J. Stokes, who was on the San Francisco 49ers at the time. And that memory stuck with me because I was the first professional athlete that I met, and it was just a great experience. Really nice guy. He helped out all the young kids and gave us great advice. So I probably have to say that.
Can we get a picture?
Yeah, let's get a picture.
Got a quick picture, and I will say too, I didn't start at the beginning. I need to go to the beginning first and let them hear the beginning because he has every single stat from Devontae. And I think
memorized.
Yeah, the people have to hear this. I'll play it one more time for you guys because it's pretty special.
Now I'm here with Devontae Adams, wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders. He's got 95 receptions for 1,444
Look at his face when he starts rattling off the stats.
He's got 14 touchdowns, and he averages 15 yards per
Look how
catch.
serious he is, bro.
it's
It's so
awesome.
serious.
It's a pleasure to meet you. But yeah, that was so
Yeah,
that was
for
so
sure.
heartfelt.
Awesome, great moment.
It's
That's
so
what the
sweet,
NFL is all
dude.
about, man.
I love it. That's what they should be about, man. I love that. I thought that was really cool. So my question for you is, when did the contracts start coming in? Like
For him,
yeah.
him and little was it Johnny for the Jets?
Johnny was good, but this kid is legit.
I think he might have a future, dude.
Dude. And I'm not even saying like, obviously I'm joking about contracts, but like there are definitely some markets that could take advantage of a kid like that. And like,
Bro, you saw the whole thing
Just-
with the corn kid on TikTok.
yeah.
He's literally on every commercial almost now.
A little different.
Corn!
We're not saying
Like,
this
bro.
kid's a meme. We're not saying
I
this kid's a
know,
meme,
I
just to
know.
clarify. But I'm saying like, what if a network puts a spin on something to try and engage a younger audience by putting a younger reporter in that situation?
Yeah.
And
I mean, he's like
think,
fucking 9. What 9-year-old's like? Oh, here comes what's his name? I forgot his name.
yeah, you're right. But
The
I'm talking
Late
like,
Show with Little John.
but I'm saying like, is it that far-fetched for Nickelodeon to come along?
No, yeah,
and
yeah.
film a 30-minute piece with him once or twice a week where he reacts to sports?
He definitely could. And
there's a market. There's a market for that.
It's like I was gonna say, our world has come to that point where like he would.
And I think it's a
definitely,
good thing because
yeah.
I don't think it's just the child audience. It's not even that. I think people would tune into that just to get
Not
a
even
break.
like people would just get people would get like action on it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like not even maybe just watch the whole thing, but like it'd be everywhere.
Yeah, 100%. And I think people would watch that as almost like a different, like a release from like regular, quote unquote, regular news or regular sports journalism. I think there's
Like sitting there with
There's
Booger McFarlane
opportunities.
and Adam Schefter.
yes.
Booger. Back to you, Booger.
Yes. Oh,
I didn't find
Either
one.
way.
I found 2 today.
I'm gonna have to take his name down because I'm gonna be following Bro's career for
yeah,
sure.
100%.
I love that
But
dude.
they're hanging
but-
up in the office.
Yeah, that'd be sick, dude. The
Office.
But The Office. I knew what you meant. That's all we've got for today, though, man. We had some good stuff. This is gonna be a longer episode for sure, especially
Yeah, it
the
was
2
good.
guests.
That was
But
fun.
it's been a really good episode. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. We'll have a new person sitting in that chair over there.
Trevor Lee?
Trevor Lee will be joining us. Thanks for
Oh,
the cat's
Mr.
out of the
Lee.
bag. But anyways, we'll have a third person here on the podcast to help us move along. But thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Ski woo!